Okay, I think that works. I'm just playing with my camera lighting in a different light because it's early morning now instead of evening, so I've got different lighting. I've got sunshine coming from behind me. I just wanted to test out my lights, test my sound because I've been playing with that, and check how to share the stream, so that because people are not always getting notifications, so I wanted to make sure I could share it and have a pause page before I start, so I can always cut that like 30 seconds, a minute or so while I do the sharing options, I figure. I'm just kind of talking to myself and figuring out. I always think best out loud, so I like to try. I'm a kinesthetic person. I've got to try things, I've got to play with things, I've got to talk myself through them, think about what's going on, and just figure it out as I go. My hands are cold. I've got the door open because the puppies are... Sorry about that. The puppies are playing outside. And it's a nice day, it's not cold, but it gets a bit cold when you're just sitting. So I'm going to put my gloves on because my hands are getting cold. Hello, Silvana. I'm just doing another play about with my camera settings and things to see if they work better. I've got a more zoomed version. I was getting a lot of glare yesterday from my lights, and I had a very panned out view. So hopefully this looks a bit better on camera, and you can see what I'm doing a bit better. Oh, it's nice to speak with you too. Hello. I'm getting quite into these live broadcasts. I was playing with Periscope the other week, and everybody was raving about it and this and that. My phone can't cope with it. I've got a Sony Xperia. It's pretty old, and it just can't cope with it. It keeps crashing. My Wi-Fi is not good enough if I'm moving about, which I tend to do. And I just thought, you know what? It would be so much easier to just get a webcam, as I keep saying I'm going to do, and just hop onto YouTube and do a live broadcast whenever I feel like it. So, yeah, that's what I'm playing with this week. I probably won't do them every day. But I am at the moment because I'm just trying to, sort of figure out the settings and get myself organised so that I can get set up, I can come on, I can put up everything, I can share it, I can get started, and bam, we're into a live show. And just do it whenever I feel like it, because much as I like scheduled shows, and I think a lot of people do like shows to be on at specific times, I think it does a bit of a disservice to people in other parts of the world who, my Australian girls will be up and about now, whereas they wouldn't have seen last night unless they were up at 4 AM like one of them. I just think it's nice for people to be able to join in live rather than just watching the replay all the time. So I'm hoping to do these at kind of different times of the day and night because I don't sleep very much. And get to meet more people and get to interact with more people than I otherwise would. So this is what I've been working on this morning. It's just it's nothing fancy. I drew her out a couple of days ago, just when I was doodling, and I filled her in with my carbon ink pen. This is the Whoops, sorry, pressed the wrong button, didn't want to do that. Hi Charlie. This is the Carbon Ink pen from Platinum. Those of you who are Jane Davenport fans, you'll know it as Jane's Epic Pen. I got this from Cult Pens actually, and I have both this one, which has got a cartridge in, which is what I like to use for when I'm out and about, because I think a cartridge is just a bit less messy, especially if you have run out of ink and you have to change it while you're out. But I've also got one with a converter that I actually use the what's it called? Converter with liquid ink, the bottled ink. And I think altogether it cost me about £15 on Cult Pens. Obviously UK, you can get them on Jet Pens, and if you're in Australia, Jane Davenport has them on her website, so you don't have to get them from America or whatever. I know the Australian dollar is awful at the moment, so a lot of my Australian girls are struggling with not being able to get things outside of Australia. But yeah, I drew her in with carbon ink because this pen is waterproof and it's also marker proof. And I've done her dress and her face in marker. I'm using my Spectrum Noirs, which I've just added new, my colours that I use a lot, of which that is not one of them. My colours that I use a lot, I've just added the new, oh, God, these are so stiff. Or I'm very weak. Okay, that doesn't want to come off. Let's try this one. There we go. I've just added the brush tips to them. You just take out the chisel tip and put a brush tip in. And they're all a bit squiffy and wonky because I've been using them. They're not too bad, I quite like them. They're a bit expensive. And now I'm just playing with this. This is in my little black book. The paper is not meant for mixed media or markers or anything like that. As you can see, it comes through, but I've got collage on this side of the page. That fancy bit of design on her dress is actually where I've written on the other side of the page already. And I've just put some deli wrap, double sheet of deli wrap on the back side so that it doesn't, if it comes through this, it doesn't transfer onto that page. And I've just been sitting here playing because I was awake crazy early this morning at like 5 o'clock. Coffee. And yeah, I just thought I'd start doing some art. So I'm using my, this is marker, because I wanted to test it with this paper to see how it works, and it takes it quite well. It blends nicely. It does spread. It goes outside the lines a lot, and like here, I don't know if you can see there, but that is not actually shadow on her dress. It's actually where her blender from her arm has spread across into the blue. Now, as it happens, that's where you need a shadow anyway. Where do I get my inspiration from? I have it delivered twice a week. Oh, that sounds like a sarcastic answer, but inspiration, it's not always about inspiration. Sometimes it's about imagination. Whether those two are the same thing or not, I suppose, is up for debate. I'm just using a Faber-Castell pencil here in purple just to start adding some depth to her hair. Yeah, imagination and inspiration, are they the same thing? I think inspiration is maybe the spark that starts it off, and imagination is what you do with that spark. And I think everybody can find inspiration anywhere. it's being able to correlate that to having a spark that says, I saw this and here's an idea. The idea for this, I was drawing her and I wanted to give her interesting hair, and I just happened to see a picture of, not a hyacinth, a can't remember what they're called, big flowers with these kind of, they're huge, the rhododendrons, is it? Maybe rhododendrons. The big flowers. And I just liked the petal configuration, and I started doodling her hair, and then I thought, I don't like the way it's all bundled up, it needs some things dangling down, so I drew in some dreads. That's all there was to it. It wasn't really... I just look at what's around me, I guess, and take it from there. But it's not all about inspiration. Some of it is just about imagination, and imagination is just allowing yourself to say, what if? What if I drew a girl with a huge purple bun that looked like a rhododendron, and then I coloured it in purple and gave her some dreads? Hydrangeas! Thank you! That's what I was trying to think of, not rhododendrons, hydrangeas. Thank you, because that would have bugged me all day. Yes, hydrangeas was what I saw. I think I just saw them when I was out with the dogs and they just stuck with me. I don't know why. I think I just liked the colour. And then when I was drawing her, I came back to drawing her and I thought, oh, I'll use that shape for her hair. So, yeah, you can get inspiration from anywhere. I think part of the problem actually with art is having too much inspiration overload, because it's almost like, it's like a creative version of analysis paralysis, where you overthink something. Spend 25 minutes on Pinterest looking for one piece of inspiration and you will get analysis paralysis, because you will be so overwhelmed with inspiration and ideas that your brain will literally shut down and you won't know what to do and you won't know where to start. Go and check out, now what's her YouTube? Little Raven Ink, or no, she's the Little Ink on YouTube. She's got about 6 different usernames. She's the Little Ink on YouTube, Courtney Diaz. She did a blog not too long ago, or vlog rather, about Overwhelm. I think it was part of One Book July. I think it was either the first or second of her One Book July videos. And she talked about basically freeing yourself up from your stuff, your physical stuff, and getting back to basics and saying, well, instead of spending all my time thinking, what am I going to do and how am I going to do it and what am I going to use, limit yourself to what you can use and say, well, this is all I've got. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to have to do it with this, and see where that takes you. And I think you have to kind of do the same with inspiration. You can be overly inspired and overly stimulated, if you like, to the point where you simply can't figure out what you want to do next. And you can't figure out what you want to do first, and you no longer have a clear idea of what you want to do at all. So that's my views on inspiration. Anyway, I hope that kind of answers your question. I can be inspired by anything, honestly. I'm just born creative. Just things give me ideas and I run with it. But where I get inspiration from is nowhere near as important as what I do with that inspiration and how I allow my imagination to play with it. Hi, Meritha. You finally get it. You finally got in. I'm not overly familiar with watching YouTube live events, so I'm not quite sure how you get in. I struggled the other day trying to get into chat, and I know a couple of people did the other day with my stream. I just couldn't get into chat. I don't know. It kept saying click here to join the chat, and then when I joined the chat there was nothing there and I couldn't get into it, so I don't know what was going on. I think I need to join somebody's live stream when it's live and actually play about with it. Maybe I need to join a live stream that I'm not interested in so that I can sit and play about and figure out what's going on instead of trying to take part in the live stream and pay attention. So for those who've just joined us, this is just I just doodled her the other day. Her hair came from we were just talking about inspiration actually. I was inspired by a hydrangea, and I just thought, it would be really cool if I did like hair that looked like a massive dread bun but looked like a hydrangea. And then I felt like it needed some dangly bits, so I threw some dreads in there as well. Just playing. And now I'm just using a Faber-Castell pencil just to add some depth to her hair. I've already done the base coat on this is watercolour, and the rest of her is done in marker because I wanted to test how markers worked on this paper. If you want to ask a question or if you need me to see something important, then can you put it in caps, because I don't have time to keep up with the chat and draw. It's very difficult. So if you have a question, can you put it in caps, and then I'll be able to see it easily when I scroll back. And if I've missed your question after about 5-10 minutes, just type it again, because I've obviously not made it that far back in the chat. Unfortunately, this goes over a page, over the bend of the page, so it's a bit difficult to work with. Glass Lantern, hello. 3 AM where you are. Where are you? Let me think, what's that, 10 hours? Are you in yesterday or tomorrow? Are you Australia? The book is my little black book it's my little black book journal that I've been using since June. If you desperately want one, you can find them on eBay. You just look for thick blank journal. And then they come up. They're the black ones with the believe quotes on the front, but they are 475 pages of journal. So if you're in any way unsure about filling a big journal, you might not want to get one. I'm pushing mine because I want to see how far it can take it, because I've done almost 200 pages, well 175 pages, and it's holding up pretty well. I'm wondering if it can take the other 300 pages, and if not, how many of those 300 pages it can take. Yeah, I just want to play with it and see what happens. How far can you push it before it falls apart? I may get to like 350 pages or 300 pages or something, and I have to stop putting new stuff in it, and I have to just use it as a writing journal or a sketchbook, but I don't mind that. I'll have an idea next time I use one how much of the paper or how much of the book I can use. And I did mention yesterday that I'm going to start working from the back, because with a bound book it's always best to work front, back, front, back, front, back. Well, obviously if you're working in a journal you can't really do that, you're just working chronologically. But half of 475 is 230 something. I don't think I'll get to 230 because that's a lot of pages to use up. Oh, by tonight. Yes, I don't think that's going to happen. I do have some more stuff that I need to put in. I've got some writing to do. I can maybe fill another 10-15 pages with September stuff because I've got some photos and stuff that I want to put in. But what I plan to do is to flip it up that way and start from this side. I've got some stuff in the back, but it doesn't matter. And start from this side with October and do October, November, December and kind of meet in the middle. Because if I just keep going this way, it's going to get to the middle of the book and it's going to crack and it's just going to fall apart. So I think now I've done 175 pages from one side, I'm going to turn it over and start 175 pages in this side and see how far it takes me up to Christmas. Oh, California. Oh, right. That's kind of the same time zone as part of Australia, though, isn't it? Is it? I don't know. I'm not very good with spatial awareness. So my idea of a 3D globe is a bit off. I know Australia is sort of below Asia, Central Asia, isn't it? Below India, Philippines, that kind of area. But what's further up? I don't know. It might be Russia. I have no idea. Geography is not my strong point, okay? I know there's other countries. I'm not sure where most of them are. I know California's over that way on the map. But if you fold the map round, if California's over that way and Australia's over that way, and you fold the map round, does that not make them kind of in line? I have no idea. If Martin was listening to this, he would be laughing his ass off. He thinks I'm hilarious when it comes to geography. Anytime we go anywhere, he arranges all the travel plans because he's convinced I would just get us lost. We would end up in Timbuktu and our luggage would be somewhere else. It just would not work for me to be arranging the travel plans. He arranges the travel plans and I work out what we're going to do when we get there. I'm the entertainments coordinator. Because I just have no idea. I could get lost in my own flat, I'm sure. Have you ever had days where you can't find the inspiration to create or draw? That's a tricky one. I've had days where I don't feel like drawing, or I don't feel like doing anything. And on those days, unless I have to, I just don't. A very good quote from the scrapbook at Kathy Zielski. Somebody said to her, "What do you do when you have scrapper's block and you can't get yourself to do scrapbooking?" And she said, "I don't scrapbook." And I'm very much the same. If I don't feel like doing it, I just don't do it. I go and do something more productive. But there are days, of course, being a teacher, where I may not feel like doing it, but I have to. But the advantage of that is that when you're teaching, you don't really have to be that inspired. You have to have a basic idea of what you want to do, but you don't have to be producing something amazing, you know, some work of art that's completely unique or whatever. It's perfectly okay on those days to say, well, you know, I'm not feeling inspired today, so instead we're going to do some basics. I'm going to show you some basic techniques or something like that. Because techniques and practice, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can, I don't want to say get away with, but you can get away with saying, you know, I'm not inspired at all today, so what we're going to do is practice drawing this, that, or the other. And if I'm not inspired to draw, Quite often I'm inspired to write instead, or if I'm not inspired to write, I'm inspired to colour. If I'm not inspired to colour, I am sometimes inspired to practice, you know, just decide what I want to practice and say, right, I need to practice drawing lips, so I'm going to draw mouths, because practice doesn't have to be perfect. Not that I advocate perfectionism in any way, but, you know, practice, if you're not feeling inspired, practicing something doesn't have to be inspired. If all else fails, you can just copy something, find a photo reference and copy it and see how you do. Some days I just don't feel like making anything. It's not that I don't feel inspired. I might be inspired. I just don't feel like doing it. And on those days, I tend to just go out and do something else, you know, refill the well. Pull out my collage books or my magazines and start clipping bits of collage out that I think, ooh, I might use that at some point. Reorganise my stash, if nothing else. Clean the kitchen, walk the dogs, go into town and have a coffee with a friend. You know, there's so much of life to do outside of creating, and I think it's a mistake to feel like you always have to be inspired to create. But at the same time, if your job is as a professional artist, which mine is, then there are days where you have to just show up and do the work. There's a really good talk by Elizabeth Gilbert, I think it's Elizabeth Gilbert, on inspiration on the TED talks. I'll see if I can find it and put it in the links below for the replay. But she advocates, you know, some days you just have to show up and do the work, and you have to say to your muse, well, you know, I'm here and I'm doing the work, where the hell are you? And sometimes inspiration doesn't come from, oh, I've got this fantastic idea. Sometimes it comes from doing the work. And later you find out that you were inspired to do something, or you weren't inspired to do something, you know. I think the worst thing you can possibly do if you're just not feeling inspired is force yourself to do anything that you absolutely just don't want to do. Unless you're working to a deadline. If you're working to a deadline, well, sucks to be you. You should have worked on it earlier. Get on it. But if you're not working to a deadline, then, you know, just take it easy on yourself. Accept the fact that today it's just not happening and go do something else. It's 11 p.m. on Wednesday, September the 30th in New Zealand. So you are almost exactly 12 hours ahead. And I think California must be behind. Is that right? Because in an hour or so, Australia and parts of Australia and New Zealand are going to be in tomorrow, aren't they? They're going to be in the 1st of October. Whereas California, it's 3:17 a.m. It's 11 a.m. here, so you haven't caught up with us yet. I think. Yeah, me and time zones, we're not friends. Time, geography, all of it, not friends. I'm just not good at it. I can't think like that. I'm not good with 3D stuff either, like spatial awareness. Whenever I buy new furniture, I measure it up, I measure my space, and then I say to my dad, is this going to fit and will it look okay? Right, so California, Glass Lantern, is 3:17 a.m, so she's just starting off the 30th of September. I'm early morning, 30th of September, kind of in the middle, and anybody in Australia, New Zealand is heading towards the 1st of October in a few hours. It's so confusing. Why can't we just all have the same time zone? And then, just when you get used to what the time zones are, they go and change the clocks or something. Our clocks change soon. I hope it's not today, this weekend, whatever. I don't know. I think it's the end of October. I think it's Halloween the clocks change. Auckland, New Zealand is the first place to get sunrise. Yeah, so in Auckland, New Zealand, in not very long, it'll be October the 1st. Whereas in California, they're only just getting started on the 30th of September. Courtney, hi! Find your link for your video to the one you did for One Book July, for the one about stuff overwhelm, because you didn't call it that, did you? Can you find that and put the link in? Because I was talking about that earlier. Because I believe that, just like you were saying, you can overwhelm on stuff, I think you can overwhelm on inspiration as well. And then your brain just shuts down because it's not physically capable or mentally capable of thinking of all the ideas that you suddenly throw at it. And I think that may be what some people call artist block. It's not that they don't know what to do, it's that they have so many ideas they don't know where to start. And I think that's very similar to what you were saying about having too much stuff, what was it you said, something about you have so much stuff to decide what to do with that you, instead of using some of your stuff to do some art, you end up doing nothing with all of your stuff, or something like that. It was a very clever quote. I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, absolutely. It gets you inundated. What is it you said? You get inundated, and then it makes you stress, and then you do nothing. Suffocation of stuff. That's it. Yes. Well, I think suffocation of stuff is like the physical version of mental overwhelm. And I think stimulating with too much inspiration. I think a lot of people, when they say they're not inspired, it's not that they're not inspired, it's that they have ideas but they don't know where to start with them. And part of the reason they don't know where to start is because they've got too many ideas going on at once. Their brain can't just focus on one thing and say, right, this is what I'm going to go with. It's like in my drawing classes, I get so many people. I'll give them a free drawing session and say, right, just draw whatever you want. And they'll say, but I don't know what I want to draw. Well, it's not about what you want to draw. It's about what can you see? You know, what can you see that is interesting? Especially if you're sitting at home, you must have things around you that are interesting. You know, your kids, your cat, a photograph, a pretty ornament that your mum gave you. There must be something around you that you like looking at enough to say, well, you know, I'll just draw that. Yeah, you spend more time looking than doing. Absolutely. I limit my Pinterest. I zip into Pinterest on my phone. I never go onto it on the computer. I go into it on my phone. First thing in the morning, it's one of my first places I check, along with my email and everything else. While I get ready to do the coffee dash and go and let the dogs out, I have a quick scroll through the latest Pinterests on my feed. And I do it like last thing at night when I'm winding down, I'll do it as well. And the rest of the time, I don't go anywhere near Pinterest unless I'm looking for something specific. And even then, I'd rather go to Google and just look on Google Images and say, right, I'm looking for, like today I was looking for a picture of an older woman to draw a crone. And you know, I just went on looking for older actresses and found Jean Walsh. And I really liked her face, so then I went and found a picture of her in kind of a period costume where she's looking older. You've got to be very focused when you're looking for a photo reference or something else, because you can just go down that rabbit hole and, you know, ooh, squirrel. That's Pinterest for me. It's just a bunch of squirrels. A whole crazy bunch of squirrels. So with this hair, all I'm doing, I put down a watercolour wash to begin with, and I'm just going in with a couple of different colours of pencil. I'm using a mix of Prismacolors and Faber-Castells, and I'm just adding darker bits. Basically anywhere where the hair comes together rather than spreading out, you're going to get darker areas. So in these little corner bits here, I'm putting in darker bits and spreading them out. And what I'll normally do is I'll go back in with a lighter colour at the end and blend it all together, and then I'll go in and put white highlights. If you've just joined us, please put any questions in capitals because I won't see them. I don't have time to read the chat and work on what I'm doing, so put your questions or anything like that in capitals, and then I won't miss them. Getting a bit peckish. How long have I been on? I hadn't planned to stay on long. I just wanted to try my new camera setup. I have 38 minutes. That's not bad. I'll do about an hour. I don't like to do more than an hour because more than an hour means I've been sat down for too long. Yeah, I've got, look, check this out. At the flick of a switch, I can do FaceTime. Hello. I can do a screen, but if I go to a screen at the moment, it will just be black because it's I don't have a website open, but it's so that I can show you a website or something like that. And then if I need to take a break, ta-da! And I can mute. And then I can come back. It's awesome. It's pretty cool. I'm liking this. It's certainly more versatile than Periscope, but it's still got the interaction, and I love doing the interaction things. I think I'm going to work on her face a little bit more while I'm on. I'm going to get... I've done... This is all markers, because I wanted to try markers on this paper. It bleeds like crazy underneath, but it bleeds around the edges. Let me bring this closer to the camera. Can you see there around her chin? It's actually bled outside the lines. So I need to be careful with that. That's from blending it. It's kind of seeped downwards. But I can fix that when I go in and do a bit of a background. I can fix in around there. Let me catch up on chat a minute. Drawing looks like a mermaid, but on land. Okay. Yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from with that. I was thinking more kind of wood nymph, but I guess mythical creatures that live in the ether is kind of the same thing, isn't it? Yeah. I suppose a wood nymph would be a mermaid on land. A colouring book for adults because I can't draw for squat. Everybody can draw, Meritha. Everybody can draw. You find any 3-year-old and give them a pencil and say, draw a picture of me, and they will draw you. It might not look anything like you, it might not even look like a person, but they will have drawn it. The only difference between whether you can draw, or the only scale of drawing is whether you draw well or whether you don't. And the only thing that affects whether you can draw well or not is how much you practice. My sister is one of those people that she can pick up a musical instrument and play it. You know, she can play any tune on a piano. She's never had a piano lesson in her life, but she can play any tune on a piano. And yet, she's now in her mid-30s and she's losing that skill because she just doesn't use it. Well, maybe the reason you draw like a 3-year-old is because the last time you actually tried to draw and practiced it properly was when you were 3. And I doubt you do draw like a 3-year-old. You might find that you draw like maybe a 10-year-old. You know, everything's a bit skew and it's all a bit off and your perspective is a bit wrong and you've got googly eyes and everything else. But, you know, when was the last time you spent serious amounts of time drawing? For every good drawing you do, you're going to spend about 10,000 hours practicing. No, 100 drawings practicing. It's the other way around, isn't it? You for every one good drawing, you'll have drawn 100 crap ones. And in order to be able to do something so that you do it reasonably well straight away, you have to spend 10,000 hours practicing. Drawing is just a skill like anything else. The more you do it, the better you'll get. You cannot just pick up a pencil and go, oh look, I can draw quite well. A few people can do that. A few people. My sister could probably do it. She's a bit talented like that. But you still won't get any better at it. You won't improve if you don't practice it. You will just be as good as you were when you picked up a pencil. So stop telling yourself you can't draw. You can draw, you can't draw very well. Therefore you need to practice. So the more you draw, the better. Get yourself a thick, cheapo kids drawing book. You know, that not really horrible nasty paper, but just cheap paper or something like this. These are like £4 and they've got 475 pages. You know, these cost nothing for the amount you get. One of these and a ballpoint pen, and every single day sit down and draw something. You don't have to draw it well. Sketch. That is what sketching is for. There is a misconception that you have to produce something, you have to draw well. But drawing and sketching and how good or bad it is all in your head. I consider this a sketch. A lot of people would consider it a finished drawing. But I'm a professional artist. This is just a 10-minute sketch I did in my journal. If I was going to draw a proper art piece, it would take hours and hours and hours, possibly days, just to draw the original piece before I started inking it. You've got to stop thinking that you can't do it and say, I can do it, I just can't do it very well. Well, what do you do if you can't do something very well? You practice. So get some paper, get a pen so you're not tempted to keep rubbing things out and get more perfectionist and tight about it. And just play. Really, just play. If you really struggle with ideas for what to draw, hi Claire. If you really struggle with what to draw, maybe get yourself a sketchbook, a kid's colouring book, something with, a basic magazine, and just draw stuff. Just pick up, something like this. Okay, what you do doesn't have to be perfect. Grab something like this, grab a pen, and say, right, I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes, and I'm going to draw that pumpkin. So what have we got? We've got a circle-ish, kind of circular shape, and we've got, oh look, that's got a pentagram, a pentagon in the middle. So that's a 5-sided shape, and then there's a squiggly bit here, and then this is kind of divided into triangular bits with curved sections. So that's like that, and then this bit, and these aren't all the same size. We've got some bigger ones and some smaller ones. There we go. And we've got some areas that are a little bit darker than others, so we'll fill those in. Like this. There's a darker piece, there's a darker piece. like that. There's some darker bits around here as well. Shadow, where's the shadow? Shadow's over here somewhere, so we'll scribble that in. And this is just a ballpoint pen. I'm not using anything fancy here. This is just a ballpoint pen. Okay, and then we'll grab a bit of watercolour. What colour are pumpkins? Pumpkins are orange. So we'll grab some orange and we'll slap that down. And we won't do it too evenly because that pumpkin's not all the same colour. Some of it is darker than other areas and some of it's yellow. So we'll just throw that on there like that. And then we'll grab a bit of yellow because that's kind of yellowy in the middle. So we'll grab a kind of yellowy brown colour and we'll splodge that in the middle. And then we'll get some more of that yellowy brown colour and we'll say, okay, there's a bit here and a bit here that's a bit darker. There's some bits here and some bits here and some bits here. And there's some bits that are almost green, so we'll use this kind of olive green and we'll just throw those bits in there like that. And there, and there. And then we'll leave that to dry and we'll come back to it later and do some more stuff to it. That is all sketching is. Now yes, my pumpkin looks a lot like the pumpkin on the page. I've had about 40 years of experience of sketching and drawing stuff. You cannot expect to be as good as me or to do this straight away. But I guarantee you, if you draw that pumpkin every day for a week, as fast as you can, the drawing that you do on Friday will be better than the one you did on Saturday the week before. I guarantee you. Try it. Prove it to yourself. It works. It's all just practice, I promise. I'm vehement about this. Can you tell? I get so, not irritated, but I get so grrr about people saying, no, I can't do it. You can do it, you just can't do it very well. And if you can't do it very well, practice. If you want to be able to do it well, practice. That's all it is. So there you go. That's today's lecture. Are you glad you asked now, Meritha? Hello from DC. Creative Amy, hi. Sketchbooks full of absolutely rubbish drawings. Totally. You should have hundreds of sketchbooks. Even now I have sketchbooks that I would never ever show anybody because it's new stuff that I've tried to draw. And I'm like, well, I've never drawn a tractor before, so of course my tractor looks like crap. You know, I've done metal surfaces before, so, you know, the parts of the tractor that are metal, and I've done them all in different colours and it's all shiny, that looks great. But it doesn't look like a tractor because it's the first time I've ever drawn a tractor. Of course it's not going to be good. I've got a lot of tractors to draw before I can draw a tractor well. And just because you can draw one thing doesn't mean you can draw anything else. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of amazing landscape watercolour artists who couldn't draw a face if you paid them. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who can do beautiful, whimsical girls, and very few people who can actually draw anything else. So don't, you know, just pick something that you like drawing. If you like drawing animals, draw animals. If you like drawing pretty faces, draw pretty faces. You don't have to draw pretty faces just because that's what everybody else is drawing. That's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing with When Frogs Sing 2016. We're going to be doing flora, fauna, people and places. So we're going to do plants and stuff and trees and fruit and still life and animals and everything. If you want to learn to draw a panda, we'll do a panda. You know, if you want to learn to draw a bear, then we'll have a go at that as well. Oops, I'm not concentrating on what I'm doing now. I picked up my face colours to do my hair. Silly me. Yeah, I love drawing pretty faces, as you can tell. But not everybody wants to draw pretty faces. Not everybody is good at drawing pretty faces and will never be good at drawing pretty faces, no matter how much they try, because that is not their talent. Maybe their talent is being able to draw fish, and they just don't know it yet because they've never tried to draw fish. I am bored to tears, in all honesty, of seeing journals that are just full of pretty faces. Yeah, learn to draw something else. Unless you absolutely love drawing pretty faces, then by all means, you know, carry on drawing your pretty faces. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what I do, for goodness sake. You know, I'm not putting anybody down who draws pretty faces. It's my default. I mean, if you look at my drawings, you know, I do doodle work like this, but 90% of my drawings, watch me not be able to find any now, are a pretty girl. Oh, look, I drew a pretty girl. Oh, look, I drew a pretty girl. Oh, look, I drew a pretty girl. You know, I like drawing pretty girls. That's what I enjoy drawing. It doesn't mean I don't practice drawing other things, or that I might not suddenly wake up one day and go, hey, I fancy drawing a horse, and discover that actually I'm quite good at drawing horses. I'm getting ranty, can you tell? It's one of my soapbox subjects. Everybody can draw, you've just got to find out what it is that you're good at drawing, or that you like to draw, or that you enjoy drawing. Maybe your forte is in doing Zentangles. Maybe you'll find you're good at drawing mandalas or something. Maybe you're a bit OCD and you like everything to be perfectly lined up, and you like spending time measuring with a ruler, and mandalas is what's going to do it for you because you have to have it spot on. You've got to experiment and not just say, oh, I can't draw. Because there's going to be something you can draw. Might not be something you want to draw, but there'll be something that you can draw well. Promise. And it might be whatever it is that you decide you're going to have to practice drawing. Ha. I feel better for that. It does you good to have a good rant every now and then. Probably why your hobo daily drawings burnt you out. Too many things to draw, new to draw every day. Yeah. If you'd drawn like the same thing every single day, maybe you could try it. Maybe do 2 weeks of drawing the same thing every single day. You like drawing faces, maybe draw your son or something every single day. And see if that is easier than drawing a new thing every day and all these fancy doodles. And see if that burns you out less. That might be a good experiment. So I did marker on this, and I'm just going back in with some pencil to do a bit more shading. Not that there was anything wrong with the shading that was there already, I just fancy doing some more shading, frankly. And I'm using Prismacolors and Polychromos, Faber-Castell Polychromos. I like the two together because the Prismacolors are very, very waxy, and you can easily get a build-up of wax, which is called wax bloom. And that's when it goes really, really shiny and you can't do anything else. And it just won't take any more. But the Faber-Castell ones, these are not wax-based, they're oil-based. And they're a lot drier, and I have not found a limit to how many layers you can put in on these yet. I've done 20, 30 layers of colour and still been able to add more to it. So I'm really liking these, but I also like mixing them with the Prismacolors, because there's something happens between the oil and the wax mixing together that gives this lovely soft velvety look. It's really nice. You're doing Inktober. Yeah, that might be a good time to try it. Yeah, just draw the same thing over and over again for the whole of Inktober and see what happens. I mean, you might get to the end of it and think, thank God I don't have to draw that ever again. Inktober is if you just Google it, you'll find it. It's just doing an ink drawing every day, and you just hashtag it Inktober anywhere. I normally do it, but I want to do the Inner Witch one this year. But then again, I could combine the two because I want to do the Inner Witch from Instagram. I want to do it as a drawing thing, not a photo thing. So I could combine Inktober and Inner Witch and do both together. That's what I did last year because I did my Haunted House challenge last year. Was it Haunted Houses? No, I did films last year. You're always doing ink stuff, Claire. It's not really a change for you. What time are we on? An hour. I'll do a little bit more and then I'll wrap up, I think. Because I've got some filming to do this afternoon. Whoops, lost my cursor. There we go. Feed the puppies. Drawloween, yeah. I'm considering doing it as... I'm doing the hair again, go away. I'm considering doing it as a video thing. Maybe doing it live even. Like this. To kind of get Vlogoween and Vlogtober in there as well. Should we do like Uber #October and just see, can we do one thing every day that will cover every single hashtag there is? I mean, you could even do them on like iCads, couldn't you? Index cards, and do Daisy Yellow's iCad thing and incorporate that as well. It'd be awesome. All the Tobers. Yeah. We could create our own hashtag, all the Tobers. Oh, we had a good idea yesterday. I was talking about Christmas Chronicles, and I don't really want to run it as a class again this year. I want to do something a bit different. And one of my subscribers, Claire, came up with the idea of doing one book Christmas. And I ran it past Carrie and Vicky, and they're like, yes, we're doing it. We're doing it. December, one book Christmas. So yeah, we're going to do one book Christmas. And but not in a kind of one book July way, where one book July was like one book July is all about figuring out your planning and getting back to basics and all that kind of thing. But this is more kind of having one book to do everything Christmassy in, so that you've got like a Christmas journal when you're finished. I think it'd be really cool. We've got to figure out the finer points of it, but I think it will probably have planning and journaling prompts and stuff like that for people to play with. And you just get one like Moleskine notebook or whatever it is that you want to do. December Daily. What's December Daily? I live in a cave. I actually, December Daily sounds familiar. What is that? I don't know. But it'll be based on my Christmas Chronicles class anyway. You're going to bed on December the 1st and not getting up till March. God, you sound like Martin. But yeah, one book Christmas I thought would be fun, and then you can play with it as well. So if you don't celebrate Christmas, you can have one book Hanukkah or one book Yule or whatever, one book for December, and just do the whole of December in your one book. I think that'd be cool. So yeah, that was Claire Branson's idea. We were hashing out ideas yesterday, and she said, "Why don't you do one book Christmas?" And it all clicked, and I got all excited again. Because I really wasn't excited about the idea of doing Christmas Chronicles yet again, because every year I do Christmas Chronicles, I get sick. Each day of December you do a document on the way to Christmas. Oh, right, okay. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to look it up. It sounds kind of similar, but not exactly. I think there's room for a lot of different things. But yeah, I suppose it, yeah. But you don't necessarily have to do this daily. You can do it whenever you feel like. It's just about using one book for everything and adding stuff. I'm going to put some white on her cheeks because I feel she's got a bit dark and I want her to have some pink in her cheeks. I want her to be a bit rosier. So I put the white on and then I put the pink over the top. And she's a bit rosier instead of very, very tanned. She did come out quite dark. I'm okay with her being dark skinned. I don't mind that. I might even make her a little bit darker. She's got kind of a flat, wide nose that dark-skinned people tend to have. So I think making her a little bit darker is not necessarily a bad thing. It probably suit her. Ooh, disappeared off into the zone there. This is what happens when I colour. I just disappear into the zone. Oh, it's a scrapbook challenge, is it? December Daily. Becky Higgins, right. So is that part of Project Life? Or in my case, Project Fail? I can't get with Project Life. I don't know what it is. It's something about, I think for me it's something about putting things behind plastic. Because I could never get into scrapbooking things behind plastic either. I don't like using albums. I like to scrapbook in my journal. I would much rather scrapbook on a piece of paper in a journal than... Oh, it won't let you post the link. Okay, can you PM it to me on Facebook and I'll post the link later. I'll put it under the video. So that anybody watching the replay can go and watch it, or you guys can go and watch it. It's a very good video. I need to do something with these tendril things. I think we need to be a bit more rounded. Project Fail for you too, yeah. I just can't, I don't like putting things behind bits of plastic. And yet, I love the journaling cards and I'll quite happily, I mean, I'm always putting journaling cards in stuff. I love the journaling cards. But when it actually comes to organising stuff into little bits of plastic, I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's like, what are they called? Pocket letters. I mean, I love writing letters. I don't get much time to do it. I really don't. I wish I had more time because I love writing letters and I love receiving letters and I have lots of people saying, I'd love to be your pen pal. But I suck at it. I mean, I owe Renee a parcel and letter from, I mean, admittedly, we both moved. But I owe her a letter from like March or something. When in doubt, add a tip in. Yes. You really need to come to Thought Bubble this year. Loads of good comic book artists going to be there. What's Thought Bubble? Tell me about this. Oh, stars! Drip stars off them. Oh, I like that idea. Ooh. Ooh, I've got some little sequin type stars, you know. Maybe do that. Oh, yeah. Well, that's cool. I like that idea. I can't decide if they look like dreads or tentacles. I think they're going through that stage at the moment where they could go either way. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do. I always do that. I start drawing stars and then I get halfway through and I'm like, ugh, how do I draw a star? I get all special about it and I'm like, suddenly I can't do it. Ugh. There we go. Lost it again. When in doubt, go back to circles. Oh, I like this. That was a good idea. Who came up with that? Was it Courtney? She draws stars on everything. Comic book convention in Leeds. Oh, you need to tell Martin about that. Because he'll probably want to go to it. He does travel arrangements. Oh, I'm digging this. I'm digging this. Let's do one coming down here. After. Oh, there we go again. How do you draw a star? I don't remember. Oh, waxy pencil. Now I can either draw those in like silver pen, or I can get my sequins out. Got some little flat sequin stars I could put on there. Here! Or I've got my cool tin. Isn't it awesome? It's got doodles all over it. It reminds me of Dawn. What's her name? Di Blogala. Dawn de Vries-Sokol. It reminds me of her doodle diaries. It's cool. Somewhere in the bottom of here I have, yeah, silver and gold pens. There you go. What should we go with? Let's give her gold stars and silver moons. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. No, no, that's gold, silver. There. Excuse me while I have a moment. Moons, stars, stars, stars in gold. I could just get a couple of, like, I think I've got some pink stars, like little tiny sequin stars. I could put a couple of those on the link. I don't know what that is. Oh, this is cute. I like this. And then I think what I'll do, I've got this bronze. If I do the beads in bronze, that'd be quite cool, I think. Is this showing up on camera? Metallic doesn't always show up on camera very well. Let's see if I can get it in the light in a minute. Let's draw a moon in there. Maybe a moon in there. I like it. See if I can get it to catch the light for you. I'm not going to get it to autofocus, I don't think. No, that's not. Oh, there you go. It looks really cool in person. Do I have to change my focus again? Oh! Oh, look! It's all in focus now. Just about to wrap up, and now you can see what I'm doing. Vlog in October. I want to do something daily for October, but I don't want to do. I don't want to do Vlogtober particularly because I don't have anything to do. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. Martin's away. We will probably do. We'll probably do something for his birthday at the end of the month, and we'll go and do something for Halloween. We'll probably go to Shrieking Leak again. But yeah, I don't have any plans for the rest of October. I'm just working. It would be very boring vlogs, so I might just do these in which things. Oh, is it super clear now? I should have thought of. See, this is what camera tests are for. This is why I do these little test things to see if I can get everything set up properly. Yeah. I think everybody's routines are boring. A lot of people think that because you're a YouTuber that we all live the life of, you know, fleur de force, jetting off to different countries here, there and everywhere. But, you know, she's one in a million, you know. The rest of us have very boring lives. I get up, I make coffee, I start making art, I do some videos, I take the dogs out, I have lunch. You know, it's not very exciting. You work from home and only leave the house to walk the dog. Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I go out once a week. I leave the house. I've got errands day, either Thursday or Friday, and that coincides with date night. So I have one day a week where I actually leave the house completely and I don't work. But yeah, the most of the time I'm just at home, and if I'm not working, I tend to be doing something that might as well be work, because, you know, I drop on here and go, hey, I'm not doing any work this morning, so I'll do a live show instead. Or I'll sit and watch wall-to-wall serial killer documentaries and draw in my art journal. That's my life, you know. If you really want to sit and watch me drawing and watching serial killer documentaries, then I'm sure it can be arranged, but it's not very exciting. But I'd quite like to do some more of these live drawing things. I love interacting with you people and getting to meet different people. And today's crowd, because there's only 2 people here now that were here yesterday, because they happen to be in a middle time zone. Claire was here yesterday, and that was like 6, 7 o'clock. And now I'm getting to meet all the Australian people who should have been tucked up in bed, although Nikki made it yesterday and it was 4 AM for her. Get up and watch YouTube, yeah. That's pretty much it. Do you know how many serial killer documentaries are on YouTube? Seriously. There's loads of them. FBI files. And if you like the paranormal investigations as well, there's even more of those. Cold case files, cold justice, paranormal PI. They're all on YouTube. Oh, deadly women. Yeah, I love those. I could sit and watch them all the time. I don't know what it is about serial killer documentaries. I just find them fascinating. A bit worrying, really. Anyway, I'm getting a bit peckish, and Scooby's looking at me from the other room and doing the staring thing. He's a bit creepy. He just sits there and goes when he wants something. He doesn't, and then you look at him and he'll go ooh with his feet. It's really funny. And then he starts chatting. But until you actually look at him, he'll just sit there going like he's trying to mind meld and say, "Oh, True Detective." That's not a... No, New Detectives is the one I've been watching. Claire, you watch as many serial killer documentaries as I do. You're just as bad. Yeah, Scooby is sitting on the bed just staring at me. Which means he either wants a treat, he wants his dinner, or he wants to go to the park. I'm guessing he wants to go to the park because it's nearly park time, so it might be lunch and park time, and then do some videoing for this afternoon before a class. Yay! Can't prove anything. Yeah. The secret is to clear your internet history. Yeah, True Detective isn't real life crime though, is it? I'm not really into... I watch Criminal Minds religiously. I absolutely love Criminal Minds. But there is no other crime show that I watch that is fiction based. I've tried all the, the CSIs and I like NCIS, but mostly because I like Abby and Gibbs. Not because of the crime aspect of it. I would much rather watch true crime. Eating, when you're eating something yummy because your dog sits and licks his lips? Yeah. Yeah, Maddie does that. She's very pointed about it as well. She'll sit and go, hee, hee, and then when you look at her, she'll go... Oh, anyway, thank you for joining me today. I hope it's been... Netflix time. Thanks, Courtney. See you later. I hope it's been interesting for you to just sit and chat. We've just been, like I say, just testing my camera and stuff. So, here's Maddie. Hello, Maddie. Hello, darling. You can come up and say hello. Come say hello. No, you're not awake. Oh, you look all discombobulated, love. No, she's not coming up. We're going to go and have some lunch. And I will see you again soon. There probably won't be one of these tomorrow because I'm out tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to the dentist, getting my tooth fixed, and date night. So, almost certainly won't be in tomorrow for a live show. But I will try and do one Friday if I can. Au revoir.